everyone, this is Persephone, and on Psychobomb, we are going to have to tackle problems that have emerged in the current dystopia, that they're relatively recent problems. So not too long ago, like 50 years ago, seeing a psychiatrist was something that was highly stigmatized, that only crazy people should see one, or defective people, and so on. And now we have reached the other end of the spectrum where for any problem that you may have, you're advised to see a counselor or a couples counselor or a psychiatrist and so on. And I'm going to tell you today that in 80% of the cases, this is not necessary, and it's actually going to ruin your life. There is a 20%, for example, dealing with grief, loss of a loved one, divorce, sudden death, a terminal illness, where I fully embrace and I would also suggest you see a specialist. But we're talking about abusing that advice in the dystopia and turning people into zombies without critical thinking, or people who just, it prolongs their denial. What do I mean by that? I'm going to analyze different cases where therapy is recommended and why I'm extremely against it. For that, we're going to go dumpster diving to Reddit, which is an abundant source of toxic stories, and I'm going to explain to you, for example, the most common advice is you should see a couples counselor. And if you see these posts, it's always some horrific story. For example, my boyfriend has this extremely attractive female friend, and he says they're just friends, and he stays with her for 5 days every week, and I don't even have money to buy food for my kids. He doesn't give me anything, and he treats me badly. What should I do? And the advice is you should go to couples counseling. Your boyfriend doesn't need a counselor because he already knows that he's a cheater, he already knows that he's a deadbeat dad, and he already doesn't respect you or care about you. The counselor is not going to make him into a good partner. And personally, I find it extremely sexually repulsive and romantically repulsive to place a mediator between me and my partner, that the person needs to teach my partner to convey basic human emotions like respect, like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't ignore your partner and always be on your phone. You shouldn't cheat on her. What are your needs? You shouldn't avoid her. Like, if we have reached this point, these things should have been taught on kindergarten. If your partner doesn't know them, he has such a personality disorder problem that the couples counseling is going to be a waste of time and money. Also, if your partner wasn't like that in the beginning, either they were a narcissist wearing a mask, or simply they're just bored of you, you know? Personally, I believe that society has lied to us. Relationships crumble. They don't last forever. They last for a few years at best. And then he's probably too much of a coward to divorce and just avoids telling you the truth or acts horribly so that you divorce him and so on. If you can't leave because of finances, children, religion, and so on, I would say work on mentally checking out and living your life as a single person with some half adult roommate, maladaptive, like a person using maladaptive mechanism. So in that case, you don't need a counselor. There are other types where the person says, I experienced that personally a lot, so I'm very triggered when I mention it. When you live with narcissists, I had narcissistic parents, and they start saying, you need to see a therapist. I saw a therapist, then I saw a second therapist. Here's the problem. I didn't need a therapist to tell me that I need to go no contact with my mother. I knew my mother was bad news ever since I was 3 or 4. My grandmother says, who was my primary caretaker, I used to ask her, when is this person going to leave? We shouldn't live with this person when my mother was coming to visit. It was that bad. I needed money. Do you have any idea how difficult it is to actually financially disentangle from a narcissist? A lot of them, the more capable ones, they make sure, especially if they are your parents or they have power over you, that they're going to financially bury you so deep that you never have the power to exit. So yeah, okay, let's say you see a therapist for a few sessions and they're going to say you need to go no contact. Have you ever had a job in your life? Have you ever had even bills in your life? Do you know that in order to actually open in an adult site any kind of account, I'm not suggesting anyone should work in adult sites, okay? I've done it. If you want to open, let's say, an account on OnlyFans, they're going to ask for a passport or an ID. Do you have one? Do you have access to one? Can you imagine if you can't even open an OnlyFans, are you going to go actually legally be employed somewhere? Is the narcissist going to help you? From my experience, a lot of narcissists actually support psychiatrists because they're going to give you meds to get you into a zombie. It was the easiest thing in the world for my awful mother to actually convince the psychiatrist to give me a bunch of antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. I didn't have depression. My depression was situational. You're with me and you abuse me, I'm depressed, I leave, I'm fine. So if you have money and time, I would say if you live with someone who's abusive, your money could have been much better spent learning a skill to make money to live, learning adulting tasks. I hate adulting, but it's necessary, like how you're going to do your taxes, what to do if someone stalks you, and so on. Again, the therapist is not going to help you. Case number 3 is that when you have any kind of problem or dilemma that has to do with yourself, that could be very valid, they're going to tell you to see a psychiatrist, when in reality, again, this is not going to help you. For example, people having extremely low self-esteem because they're very overweight, and people say, see a therapist. Okay, you may see a therapist to get to the underlying cause of why do you eat your feelings, I understand, but this is still going to be temporary, and you still are going to need help losing the weight if you want your life to change. So I believe that by giving you all of this constant pressure to see a psychiatrist, they make you weak-minded. They make you someone who is going to be drug dependent. Do you know how difficult it is to get off Xanax and stuff like that? Oh my God, you have no idea. I wouldn't even wish it to my worst enemy. Okay, maybe to a couple of people, but not most people I know. It's awful. And last but not least, and this is probably the most important thing that I should have said at the start of the video, most people cannot afford a psychiatrist or a therapist in the first place. Where I live, the cheapest session is $100 for 40 minutes. If you're watching me, you could be one of these people who don't have access to a single dollar, either because they don't make money or because they don't have access to the money they make. Both things have happened to me in the past. So if you say, yeah, but what about public services? Public service would be some extremely burned out, overworked person who's going to see you for 15 minutes, give you a bunch of pills, and send you your way. So I'm saying that because I know a lot of people who feel bad because they cannot afford a psychiatrist. Things are not that bad. You probably don't need them in the first place. There is so much reading and self-therapy you can do on your own, with journaling, with actual self-care tactics that I'm going to develop in upcoming videos, and you can do 80% of the work on your own. If after you get yourself sorted out, you leave the narcissist, you establish sources of income, you work on your mental and physical health, if you still want to see one to make something good even better, that's a whole different story. But especially the people on Reddit, I have so much resentment towards them. They act as if anyone can just push a button and get a psychiatrist or a psychologist to help them, and that would be it. I'm also going to mention the fact that this is a profession that attracts massively narcissists and psychopaths because it's easy money, tons of money, and also lots of control over other people. I have met some psychiatrists that are legit monsters, both male and female. They're monsters, dangerous, extremely unethical. People that I'm convinced now, looking back, that they were very well aware that my mother was extremely abusive, and they just plied me with all kinds of pills to make me a zombie, to keep taking $150 per session. These people should be in jail or dead. So don't think that just because someone has access to this trust type of person, they're going to be better in life than you. They're not. This is just a sign of the dystopia who wants to create idiocracy, people with no critical thinking, people without trust in themselves, and to distract you from the real problem. The real problem isn't that you have miscommunication with your partner. Did you have miscommunication with other people as well? In my experience, I have great communication skills. I don't want to brag, but that's it. All the people that they accused me of miscommunication were abusive. They were trying to insult my intelligence. They would say English is not your first language, so you misunderstood, you misheard me, this and that, and all of them were cheating, stealing, abusing, lying, and that was found out later. So if you're watching me right now, stop being codependent with your therapist if you have one. You don't have to feel inferior if you don't have one, and focus on making money. Figuring out how to make money is going to solve 90% of the problems that you have. The idea that money don't bring happiness is something that the elites say to the poor masses so that they won't riot. If you have money, you can get rid of so many problems instantly you wouldn't even imagine. That's why I'm telling you that you will never hear from me the advice to go to a psychiatrist as a first or second or even third advice. Okay, as a last resort, yes, but not before that. Don't be part of the stupid people who say, you should take the monster with you, the narcissist with you, to tell them, hey, cheating hurts me, calling me names hurts me, never doing anything around the house hurts me. Wow, groundbreaking. They didn't know that. They've never heard that. If their favorite celebrity crush came right here, they would just cheat on her and call her names, right? They wouldn't be on their best behavior. Come on. Anyway, this is all for now. If you like this channel, please subscribe, please share, because it's not monetized yet and I don't like working for free, especially for YouTube. Thank you for watching.